A lot of us have been going through continual storms, continual trials, and yet we have not reached that place where we can finally say, wow, I've reached where I want to be, or I'm excited about where it is I am. A lot of us have seen other people who have gotten promoted, yet they have not been doing things that are actually in alignment with positive thinking or moral ways. There's a lot of darkened hearts and darkened um, plotters, schemers, and people who have done things wickedly, yet they've gotten promoted, as it seems. And there's those of us that are on the path that is trying to be the best version of ourselves and not take advantage and use others and treat others as pawns, so to speak. And yet we haven't seen our promotion. So I have a message, and truly it's going to begin to unfold. I believe rapidly. I believe a lot of us are going to see our lives begin to accelerate in a way that is also witnessing those who have done wrong in the eyes of God find themselves low. Because the Bible says pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit comes before a fall. So those who have puffed themselves up, and same as it also says, those who exalt themselves will be humbled. Those who humble themselves will be exalted. And this is just the way of the spirit realm. It's just bound to happen one way or another. So a lot of us are aware of how fraudulent this world is, how the systems evolve on self-obsession, greed, control, monetary gain at the expense of morality in its entirety. We see that and we live in it. So if we continue to persist through it, maintaining our authenticity, our positive intentions, and we don't conform to it, we're going to see ourselves on the other side prepared for the world that is to come. You see, because everything happens in cycles, good and bad things. People succeed for just a short while and then they're torn down. As the Bible says, God raises up kings and he tears them down. So no one's free from judgment. No one's free from reaping what they've sowed into. So just because we've seen them get away with it, so to speak, has nothing to do with what's to come. It's just to say that, well, God's a bit, how would you call him? He's very expressive in the sense that he likes to show people when it really is him. So he does things in a way that is grand, is large, it's a display, right? And we don't really understand that because we see people, quote unquote, not getting what they deserve. But you see, when God does it, the world knows it's God. And the world begins to shake in a way that they haven't shaken before because they begin to think about all their ways that they have walked and all of the things they have done. And they realize they did it all before God. So keep these things in mind when you're beginning to move forward, is that you need to maintain clarity of mind and peace of mind in knowing that in due time it will happen for you, whatever it is you're waiting on. So a lot of us honestly have been going through the storm. That's what it is. We look around and we see the world in shambles, not in a positive place. And it's because of those who have ill will and dark intentions have not sought to help this world, but they've sought to tear it down. It's like a low vibrational energy that's continued to try to keep this world in a somewhat of an enslavement, inability to move forward. But yet that's all coming to an end, and there's going to be us and those of us who have waited and hoped for a better future, who are going to be able to see it. But those who are partaking in that system, the system that technically is still standing while I make this video, will not be there, and they will not excel in the season to come. They will not find ground to stand upon in the season to come. Their pride, their arrogance will not remain. They will not continue to move forward the way they have because they are being demoted. Most literally, in the spiritual realm, it has already happened. In the natural realm, we haven't seen it. Before long, we will, though. So all of our lessons, all of our difficult times, we have felt, yet those who have the opportunity and the position have not felt. So as it is for us now, so it shall be for them later. They will begin to feel the refining process, which will be a form of grace. They will be given an opportunity to actually turn into the person they were created to be. But they'll have to be taken through the storm, right? Even though all of their finances, all of their possessions may very well turn to dust, they will have an opportunity to move forward spiritually, move forward into their calling, who it is that they were made to be. And some, well, they may not be around for it. But others who choose to take the call, even though they know they lived a life of darkness, they will have the opportunity to come to their rightful place, which is, in alignment with the purpose of God. But as of right now, it's still playing out. It's still beginning to unfold before our eyes as we watch the world begin to transition into this era. I like to call it an era. A season that is passing away and a new one's coming. Just as fall started September 1st, and now it's, I believe, September 2nd. So as we're coming into a seasonal change in the spirit, it'll be far greater than how we see the leaves change in the natural. It'll be far greater than that. So those that were in those positions, well, they fumbled their opportunity to remain there. If they would have turned from their wicked schemes, if they would have turned from their darkened ways, their manipulation, their treating others as though they aren't even worthwhile, as treating the poor as though they are to be discarded, as though they are inferior nothingness, as though they aren't also made in the image of God. Well, they had the opportunity to remain if they would have turned away, but they didn't. And so God's ears will be closed off to them the same way that they have closed off their ears to the poor, because really they haven't allowed Christ in. Because that poor person who asked for help and they thought nothing of, they didn't realize they were rejecting Christ. They weren't rejecting the poor one. They're rejecting the one that needed help, that needed a word of advice, a fellow brotherly smile, but they gave none of that to anyone. And they were self-obsessed, and they began to dwell in this thick darkness. They will not remain. Truly, they will not remain. It's a serious time, but at the same time, it's a celebratory time. If you're watching this and you're wondering, when is my time? I'm here to tell you and to confirm with you, it is approaching rapidly. So position yourself and get right in your heart. Purify your heart so that when you move forward and you are promoted, you don't become as they did, self-obsessed, greedy, lack of care for those who are asking for help. And I'm not saying to help those who have fallen from high places, because those who have fallen from high places need to be humbled. They need to experience the difficulty that comes with not having all of their idols that they wanted, that they coveted their whole lives. I'm talking about those who need a helping hand, need a brotherly gesture, whatever it is. Maintain in yourself a purified sense, because through the difficulties that we've gone through, we can stay that course. We just have to commit to it. We don't want to conform into the people that we disliked, that we held disrespect for in our hearts because they did wrong. Let's become the people that we wished that those who have power, influence, and wealth could have been, but they chose not.